Okay, we're back with Tri Alliance TV with Tri Alliance Queensland's Chris Bailey and head coach Mark Turner. Chris, first of all, congratulations on your effort in Cairns Ironman 2013. You qualified for the Ironman's Holy Grail, Kona. Can you tell us a little bit about your result in Cairns?
Yeah, so it was a fantastic result. I wasn't expecting it, and the day went really, really well. I think the only thing that I did wrong was I probably went out a bit fast on the bike and on the run, but great day out.
What times did you do?
So I did 1 hour and 4 for the swim. I did 4 hours 55 for the bike, and then did a 3:15 marathon to finish these off.
Mark, what did you think of Chris's effort?
That was outstanding. 9 hours 21 overall, 16th place overall, third in the 35 to 39s for the men, and qualified for Kona. That was the goal going into the race. It was all about trying to see if he could qualify for Kona. He had a race at Ironman Austria last year where he qualified for Kona but wasn't able to take a spot. So I guess for us working together, it was all the boxes ticked. Great result.
It seems with a result like that, Chris, people would think that you're a pro or semi-pro, but apparently you're quite busy outside of triathlon as well.
Yeah, so I've got a great family, 2 young kids, 3 and 5, who demand a lot of time, and I've got a pretty busy job that we moved over to Australia for a year ago. So I manage a business, which means a lot of travelling around and long hours and stuff like that.
How did you get involved with Tri Alliance Queensland?
So when I moved to Australia, I did some research before I came over because I wanted to join a club and get to know the area and where to train, and I also wanted to have a proper structured training program put together, and ideally I wanted to be able to combine both of those 2 elements. So I did a bit of research, met up with Mark when I came over, and that's how I got in touch with Tri Alliance.
And Mark, you tailored a program specifically for Chris around his needs?
Absolutely. So with Chris's, you mentioned he's got a young family, moved to Australia, and a really demanding job where he does sort of travel a lot. So it meant there really wasn't any training at night. We were able to get a bit of hours on the bike in terms of his commute to work, but not a lot. And with his work schedule, often get 3 or 4 days notice that he might have to be in Dubai or Perth or Geelong or Sydney, and so the training program was constantly modified as we went to sort of fit in with Chris's family and work commitments.
How did you find the training, Chris?
Yeah, good. I mean, I think what was really good is that I was able not to do any stuff after work at all. So after work was about getting home and seeing the kids and putting them to bed and seeing my wife, and I managed to do everything before work. And the training sessions were all about having a specific aim and trying to hit a wattage or a pace or something like that. So there was nothing which was really just training.
Mark, what are the benefits of a tailored program but also training within the group itself?
I guess firstly on a tailored program, I mean you're trying to put together a program that is specific and right for a particular individual. So with Chris's circumstances, not having a lot of time, and juggling his training around his family and work commitments, there was never really any weeks where he did more than 12 or 14 hours a week. So his longest ride was about 4 hours on the weekends, and his longest run was about 2. But within those sessions, they were very specific to Chris and what was going to benefit him on race day. So we had 4 hours, and how do we best make use of those 4 hours that he had to do a long ride on the weekend? And similarly with his long run, we had 2 hours, so how do we make the most of that 2 hour period that he's got? So we were able to tailor that program to suit Chris. And Chris is a very disciplined athlete as well, so you knew that if you set him a specific set, he would do it. And in terms of training with the group, I think a lot of people, triathletes, a lot of people do like to train with others. So generally we use squad sessions with Chris, like the Tuesday morning run, Thursday morning swim, Friday morning swim, that were his hard interval-based set. So the Tuesday morning run was a hard interval-based set with the group, so he was getting a really good quality workout with that. And then the swim on the Thursday and Friday morning with the squad, again, he was getting some good quality specific work for him on those mornings. So he was getting the best of both worlds, the group training that pushes you, and then the individual stuff that was specific for Chris.
Chris, did you hit any sort of physical or mental barriers during the Cairns Ironman, and then did you think back to the training in any way?
Yeah, so the hardest bit was definitely the run. So as I mentioned before, I went out too fast on the run. I was full of adrenaline all day long. I thought I was going to, set a world record or something. And then towards the end of the run, it started to get pretty tough. started to hurt a lot. And I think then you think back to the training and all the miles that you've done in training, and you think about holding your run form and staying tall and leaning forward and making sure that you do those things to get you through until the end.
So that's the start. Now you've got training for Kona. How is that going? We're probably a couple of months away from that, and the two of you, how's the training going, and what are you doing with this?
So after Cairns, it was about recovering. There's not a lot of time between Ironman Cairns and Kona. It was about 15 or 16 weeks, so it was really about having a good break. So Chris had 3 or 4 weeks off training where he really didn't do anything. Had a little bit of a foot injury with Cairns as well, so that we had to try and manage a little bit. So Cairns was post, getting over that race before starting getting into a build towards Kona. We're certainly into the nuts and bolts of the Kona prep now, and he's had a couple of races and they've gone reasonably well. Training's gone well, and got the Sunshine Coast Half coming up in a few weeks and a training camp this weekend.
Yep.
So I think there's no reason to think that Chris won't have as good a race in Kona as he did in Cairns.
How are you feeling, Chris?
Good at the moment. We'll see how it goes, eh?
Chris, what messages would you have for those that are considering joining Tri Alliance or even doing an Ironman?
So I think in terms of joining a club, I think it's definitely the right way to go. I mean, I think you have to be careful when you start out doing triathlon that you don't try and do too much too quickly and try and go too fast too quickly. And I think a club is a safe way of getting into the sport and not doing yourself any damage really. I think in terms of doing an Ironman, I think it's a sensible thing to do is to build up to it. There's a natural progression from sprint to Olympic to half Ironman and then all the way through, which is what I did. And just have faith in your coach and the club and do what you're told. I think that's important. And just be committed to it really.
Mark, Chris is obviously a naturally athletically gifted person, but what could any would-be competitor take from his story?
Just, I guess, learning from Chris in that, he's very good at time management. When he's at work, he focuses on work. When he's at home with the kids, he focuses on the kids. He often tells me that he finishes the training session and then it's like a constant brick, playing with the kids and bathing and feeding and dinner. So, but then he's focused on the kids and he's not thinking about training. But when he's training, he's training. He makes the most of the small amounts of time that he has. So I think anyone can take away, and we're all a little bit time poor, but if you manage your time well, and then when you're focusing on a particular task, well, that's what you're thinking about. So when you're training, you're thinking about that training, and try not to do too many things at one time. So I guess the discipline approach that Chris has had, yes, I think he's got some natural ability, but no more than the next person, to be honest. I just think he's an extremely hard worker and very disciplined and focuses on the task at hand really well. So that's the main message I think anyone could take across, that if I want to do Ironman, I don't need to do 20 to 25 hours a week. Sure, that can work. Is it a sustainable long-term approach? I'd argue maybe not. You can do an Ironman, like Chris, on 12 to 14 hours a week, but still have a life. You still have a good family life, still have a successful professional role, and not have to sacrifice the rest of your life just because you're doing an Ironman.
Just because you're going to Kona. Good luck with Kona.
Means the bank account's empty then.